What's up, Men's Physique fans, and welcome back to another video. We are just 6 weeks out from the biggest bodybuilding show in the world, and it's about that time. We are getting recent updates from some of the most notable names who will be walking across that Olympia stage. The Olympia qualification window only being 2 weeks away. Every show matters, and we had another show this past weekend in Mexico where we are introducing a new Olympian to the stage. And this past weekend in Pittsburgh at the North American Championships, we have witnessed a handful of amateurs' dreams come true by earning their IFBB Pro cards. There's a lot to catch up on in the men's physique division this week. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy this video.
Grapevine, but I ain't hearing nothing great. No, they wanna take it all from me, so I give what it takes. Whole life been a miracle, seen everything but a cape. Why would I stop now? Found everything on a journey, but another way. Look.
Crazy to think that there are only 3 shows left to qualify for this year's Olympia, making the stakes just that much higher. And this past weekend in Mexico, we have guys who have been on the Olympia stage before who are fiending to get back, and a lot of young, hungry athletes who are looking to get there for the first time. And this past weekend, it looks like another previous Olympian kicks the door in and earns his qualification. So let's break down the first callouts. This wasn't the most stacked show, but one thing that I've learned about competing at this show just last year is the standard of conditioning at these overseas shows are next level. Now, immediately when I look at this first call out, my eyes go directly to the guy far left who has the ombre yellow shorts. And the main reason for that is because his size. Now, that might not be the best thing for the men's physique division, even though he has a crazy physique. He is night and day bigger than everybody on this stage. And I'm not saying he doesn't fit the division, but in the same breath, when you separate yourself from mass, that's not necessarily a way that you want to separate yourself when it comes to the men's physique division, right? Usually it wants to be structure or conditioning or shape, but muscularity isn't a reason why you want to be looked out as a standout, at least for the men's physique division. And one guy in from him, we have Mario, a guy who has been to the Olympia stage before, a guy who is very well known for his level of conditioning. Now, when I take a look at the way that he is posing in his front shot, it definitely throws me off a bit. I do think if he was a little bit more staggered, had a little bit more of a wider base, which would also help complete his X-frame, it would add so much more to his physique. So again, all subtle changes that he can make now that he did punch his ticket at the Mexico Grand Prix and qualified for the Olympia, I do think that he's going to be able to fix those minute details to improve at the Olympia. But nonetheless, if he can just prioritize the conditioning that he continues to bring while also adding a little bit added fullness to the back, I think that's also going to go a far way. So again, fixing his fullness to the back as well as fixing his posing will help elevate his physique to the next level. And a guy who I'm not familiar with, but who really stands out to me is the guy in the light blue shorts. This conditioning is absolutely insane. The separation to his midsection is absolutely insane. It kind of gives me Ali Bilal, Ryan Terry kind of vibes. When I look at this physique, this is so appealing. I do want to see him tweak his posing. I believe his hand-on front shot, almost more of like a Diogo Montenegro, doesn't necessarily fit his look, even though he looks amazing. I think that he could maybe do a more traditional one hand on hip, manipulate his waistline a little bit more, and that is going to show crazy amount of detail while also giving him a smaller waist to shoulder ratio. I think if he can do that, his look is going to be amplified and some, but his physique is insane. If he can continue to work on that density through the back to match that crazy front, there's no doubt in my mind he will be a future Olympian. And another guy who has been consistently in first callouts at almost every single show that he does is Josh Guidry. Josh has a physique that has to fully be maximized in order for him to punch his ticket. And out of all of the shows that he did this year, because he has ran the gauntlet, I do believe this is the best look that Josh has brought into any stage, the most conditioned. Josh doesn't necessarily need to focus on, I'm not going to say fullness, but size is not necessarily going to be a factor for him. He's always been a bigger individual. So if he can continue to push that conditioning level and the separation, he's going to be a guy who's going to be at the Olympia one day. Placing second here at Mexico Grand Prix is something he should be extremely proud about, especially through all of the craziness that he has been through this past year. And somebody personally who has been in his shoes, you know, getting closer and closer and closer. And even just this last year, you know, I placed second at so many shows. And last year, Josh actually beat me at this show, placing second behind Edvan Palmeira. And I think Josh has such a bright future in the men's physique division. He just really needs to prioritize fine-tuning some of the small details that he needs to continue to improve on to be at that next Olympian level. But it's really good to see that over the last handful of months, he's been continuously improving. And again, that's not something you typically see when somebody is running the gauntlet so often. It's a lot of times they usually hit that wall, and at some point they start to degress. Take it from somebody who did that personally last season. But I do think that this year was a learning lesson for Josh, because now he knows his physique, he knows what he needs to do, and he also knows the weight/look that he needs to aim for in order to be in that top call out. But nonetheless, congratulations to everybody who competed at the Mexico Grand Prix this past weekend, and congratulations to Mario for earning his Olympia qualification and going back to the Olympia. I look forward to meeting you in Las Vegas and standing on stage with you, brother. It's crazy to think how fast the Olympia is approaching. And this is that time period where you're starting to see the physiques change dramatically. Because if you really think about it, we're really only at that halfway point. I mean, most of the guys who qualified obviously qualified earlier in the season, so they were pretty much in shape. So typically when you're kind of already in shape, you'll start that dieting phase around 12 weeks. And with us being 6 weeks out, this is when you're going to really start to see physiques changing hand over fist. And a few of them looks like they're more than ahead of that halfway time point, starting off with Ali Bilal. Guys, when I saw this update from Ali Bilal, it looks like he's 1 week out from a show, at least for the traditional person. Ali Bilal has never had an issue with conditioning, ever. He's had insane amount of detail through his midsection. That's obviously what he's known for. And with the men's physique division kind of obviously having that more asphyxiation towards like abs, it's safe to say that he is definitely raising the standard of what is being rewarded for men's physique. I mean, again, winning the Pittsburgh Pro, New York Pro in such dominant fashion, it's safe to say that this guy is not just somebody who is a favorite to do very well, is a favorite to go from 16th place to potentially top 3. Which, if you wrap your head around that, it's kind of crazy to think. And I don't even know if it's ever been done before. But Ali Bilal's update is insane. Again, look at the detail through the serratus. Look at the overall posing confidence. It looks like his back has been brought up dramatically, very similar to how Ryan Terry did after the New York Pro just last season going into the Olympia. And I think Ali Bilal is really going to shock a lot of people this year. And you guys have heard me talk about this guy a lot on this channel because I am a massive fan of his look, and mainly the structure of him is very, very dominant. If you take a look at Abasai's most recent updates, you can not only see what I'm talking about with structure, but look at the fullness. Oftentimes when you see taller and wider individuals, again, guy who has phenomenal structure, it's harder to fill out that frame and structure. But look at his chest, look at his shoulders. This is the best that he has ever looked this far out from a show. And if he can continue to fine tune and use the momentum that he has after winning Chicago, after winning Texas, he is going to be a guy who not only breaks that top 10, he's going to be punching at the door for that top 5. And I have no doubt in my mind, he's very balanced from front to back. And again, right now, with more than enough time to fine tune that conditioning to be on that Ali Bilal, Ryan Terry level, if he just nails his look and he nails his peak, there's no doubt in my mind that he is going to be a top call out guy. And a guy who I want to put back on your radar also released a crazy update in Chris Barr. Chris has always been one of those individuals who I believe has been slept on because he's always been in the first call outs at almost every single show. He's been sharing top call outs with previous Olympians and current Olympians. And I do believe if he can nail his look, right, bring in that next level separation detail, he has such a good structure. Not many people have his size in terms of shoulders, arms, back, right? He does need to continue to fill out that chest, which he's aware of. And I guarantee that they found that recipe in order to do that because this past season was definitely the fullest he's ever been. So if he can continue to compound on the progression that he's made from year over year, if he can nail it at this Olympia, another guy who people are likely not having in those top 15 predictions, he could easily sneak into that spot. Easily. Again, somebody with great structure, somebody who is known for bringing in some pretty solid conditioning, right? He never necessarily misses with conditioning. It's just making sure that the peak with fullness and conditioning comes into one. And if he can do that, I'm telling you guys, keep a lookout for Chris Barr. And a guy who has been in the top 5 at the Olympia before is looking like he is doing everything in his power to get back there. If you take a look at this update being 6 weeks out, this guy is looking absolutely insane. Now, granted, he is not showing off a lot, but what he is showing is that granite-like package that he tends to bring at majority of these shows. Now, the one thing that I love about Edvan was his ability to actually downsize to meet the division of what men's physique is. He went from 5th to 11th place at the Olympia in 2022 compared to 2023. And now, with the package that he brought to the New York Pro, there's no question in my mind, you could clearly see the differences between mass and overall just polished, clean, more traditional in terms of what they're looking for men's physique. You guys hear me say it all the time, men's physique is a look. It's not necessarily just a wow factor when you see somebody walk out, right? It's not just mass, and it's not just one specific thing that separates. It's a combination of things. And I think Edvan kind of got that message after the 11th place finish, and then took a step back to focus on prioritizing figuring out that look and how to manipulate it for himself. Because I will never forget when Edvan stepped on the scale at the Sasquatch show where we competed head to head together, and this man weighed 22 pounds more than me. And keep in mind, he's probably standing around 5'9". I'm 6'2". So the fact that he was 22 pounds heavier than me, it's safe to say that this man carries a lot of muscle on his frame. So for him to sacrifice that muscle in order to bring down that package to meet what the division standard is, it's safe to say this man's all in. And I don't know how he did it. Him and Cuts are definitely working some magic trick, but I'm excited to see what Edvan does this year. And Mateus nearly drops a 6-week out update, looking absolutely insane. The one thing I love about Mateus is, one, his level of conditioning that he brings, and also his overall structure. He's a taller guy, and I think that's going to allow him to separate himself at his very first Olympia. Very balanced from front to back as well. Again, looking phenomenal where he currently stands at 6 weeks out. Really excited to see what he can continue to do. And again, another guy who's definitely a sleeper going into this year's Olympia. And the legend himself, George Brown, showing off some crazy detail, crazy detail. I've gotten a lot of updates from a lot of guys over the last handful of weeks leading into the Olympia, or just shows in general. And it's safe to say George's updates that he's been posting online are definitely seemingly ahead of a lot of these guys' conditioning level. George has never had an issue with conditioning, ever. Ever. This man is always somebody who just stays peeled, right? That's literally his saying, and he lives by it. Stay peeled. He looks phenomenal. And as a fan of George and the division, I really want to see George bring his all-time best to this year's Olympia. Again, he's not going to be missing on conditioning, right? He just really needs to nail that peak, and he will be in that conversation. George has always been a guy who has been in top conversations at every single show throughout the start of his career, right? He's always been in those conversations. But now, with this being his last Olympia, can you guys imagine George in a top 8, top 5 situation? That would be absolutely amazing. It's one hell of a way to hang up what's already been a legendary career. And it's safe to say that he is letting out all the stops for this one, because he's looking insane, currently 6 weeks out from the Olympia. And last but certainly not least, we have Ben Quill Marney, who posts a back update. Again, a guy who took off a lot of time to prioritize some of his weaknesses in order to get back on that stage, a completely new athlete. And it's safe to say, based off this update, he has done just that. Back looks thick, guy looks insane, and I'm telling you guys right now, I've said it on a future podcast, and I'm gonna say it again, with the structure that he has, with the conditioning that he has, right? If he can continue to nail that perfect peak combo, he is going to be a guy. I'm telling you, hear me when I say this. He's going to be a guy who's going to go from a consistent 16th place finish to an easily jump to an 8-10 finish. He has that physique. He has that ability to do so. He has what the division is really looking for, right? He has the shoulders, he has the structure, he has the conditioning, right? He has the balance. He just needs to nail the peak, the combo of fullness and conditioning. I'm telling you guys right now, he's going to be in that conversation. I want to take a quick second to congratulate all of the new IFBB pros after this past weekend at North Americans. I want to apologize ahead of time. I got my iPad out, right? So hopefully I do not butcher your name, but Class A, we have Derek Nichols, and then we have Class B, Jonah Nelson. Class C, Joseph Halabai. Class D, Quincy McNear. Class E, Vuk Nitish. Again, sorry if I butchered that. Class F, we have Breon Perry. Class G, Aiden McGover. And then Class H, we have Chappelle Hurd. Congratulations on earning your IFBB Pro card. So you know I have to give a special shout out to Joseph Halabai, our Class C winner and men's physique overall champion. Guys, this show has done so much for me in my career. This is where I earned my IFBB Pro card back in 2020. Yes, you heard it right. 2020, during the 10th year. For those of you who remember about that, there was nobody in the stands. There was only cameramen, judges, and just a few promoters walking around to make sure that we weren't going stir crazy. It was the biggest national show of all time. My class in itself had 40 plus people. I will never forget that. It was so many people who were vying for that top spot, and North Americans stood their ground, kept an opportunity for us athletes to turn pro, and that's why this show means so much to me. And after that was my first ever pro. That's when I turned Dan Ibrahim pro just a few years later, which again was such a special moment for me in my coaching career. So I want to make sure that I give some love to our overall winner. Again, Joseph looked absolutely insane. There was no question that he stood out amongst everybody else simply due to his conditioning. He is somebody who, I'm telling you guys, with the added time, once he puts on that muscle on his frame, he is certainly going to be a guy to look out for in the IFBB Pro Leagues. And not to mention, he is coached by DJ Pure. DJ has the most IFBB pros going to the Olympia stage outside of, we'll say, maybe Coach Cuts, right? Those two probably have the most pros at this current time going to the Olympia stage for a good reason. DJ has truly came on the scene this past year, and he has continuously been winning overalls at these national shows. And I'm really excited to see what him and Joseph can do over their career together. But nonetheless, congratulations to not only Joseph, congratulations to DJ, but I cannot wait to see what you do in the IFBB Pro League. Manifest Competition Wear has a new launch going live tomorrow, 10 a.m. EST. Make sure you set your reminders. If you guys have an upcoming show, or if you guys have a show that you know you want to wear these board shorts for in the future, I would highly recommend you acting on it quick. We will be shipping out these shorts the same day for the first week for you guys to get them on hand, especially if you have an upcoming show. But I'm telling you guys right now, these will go quick. We are officially sold out of our Origin launch. They are all gone, and it's crazy to sit here and see how much the men's physique division is coming together and seeing the value, and not only that, just the confidence in the way that these shorts are bringing their physiques to life. I'm telling you guys right now, these are just the beginning, and this launch is going to set a new standard. We made some minor adjustments from the first launch compared to the second launch, adding in an added crotch layer to make sure that it's not too revealing on stage under the lights. Not only that, we actually kept the same material, but also made it a little less snug around the quads and still kept the form-fitting feeling that everybody loves when it comes to Manifest. And these designs, guys, are one of a kind. And the Hero Collection goes much deeper than just the stage. As somebody whose family has been in every single branch of the military, I have witnessed the sacrifice up close and personal, and we want to make sure that we give back to our troops, not only with the specific designs, but putting our money where our mouth is and donating to the Homes for Veterans Foundation. And I'm telling you guys, if you can support by not only potentially getting a pump cover, which you guys are absolutely going to love, but also investing in the board shorts in themselves, I'm telling you guys, not only will you feel the difference and see the difference on stage in your physique, but you're also going to be helping back, give back to what is something that's so special to me, as well as so many others. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Get ready. Set your reminders for tomorrow, 10 a.m. EST. Let's get it. And for anybody interested in working with me in one-on-one coaching, I am now taking on 5 clients from now until this time next week. With the Olympia approaching, I will be closing out my roster spots very soon to prioritize my current roster. And not only that, guys, I am opening to lifestyle, off-season, and prep clients. So if you're looking to prioritize growing to the 2025 season, I will be accepting clients. If you want to fine tune and get better for a future show in the 2024 season, shoot me a message. I can guarantee you I can help you get to that result. And again, if you're a lifestyle client looking to gain 10 pounds, lose 10 pounds, I'm your guy. I look forward to connecting with you guys. All you guys got to do is click the link below in my bio. It'll take you to a fill out section. I will reach out to you within the first 24 hours, and we can get together and see if this is going to be a good fit. But nonetheless, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. That is all of the news this week on Men's Physique, and I cannot wait to touch base with you next week. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.